Hi, and welcome to the weekly predictions based on astrology for the week of October 5, 2020. First, let's touch on the stock market predictions, and by that I mean predictions for the Dow Jones and Nasdaq. I think the market will go down Monday through Thursday, and then it will go up on Friday. Friday, I believe, will be a greater than usual move day, regardless of the direction of the market. In terms of the background influence, we will likely have increased focus this week on mining, metals, and large-scale engineering projects. So something like tunnels or bridges or large buildings. And there is an increased probability of some sort of either a disaster or accident or a big either change in the project, perhaps the start of a project, or some sort of impediment where the project needs to be basically paused. Another, of course, not large, but a long-term influence that we have is something that will have to do with increased tensions, increased probability of geopolitical shifts, and also earthquakes and any sort of violent protests and skirmishes. And unfortunately, this is intensified this week, especially October 6th through the 10th. And I would say 6th and 10th look pretty tense, and that may be accompanied by, as I said, natural disasters, but also perhaps bad weather, where there are violent storms and power outages. And as I said, this may also be accompanied with, by various protests, tensions, and some sort of unsettled, basically, geopolitical environment. Moving on to more specifically the individual days, October 5 through the 11th may see surprising news about banks and financial institutions, anything to do with earnings, currencies, loans, and even including cryptocurrencies and forex, and also taxes, insurance, and those kind of topics. And again, those may involve sudden announcements, sudden cancellations of some project, or sudden restructuring of how bank goes about, say, doing whatever it is that they're doing. But the changes may be surprising and sudden. And again, most strongest influence for that is, I would say, 6th and 7th of October. Additionally, there may be again, increased violence, protests, and that may be accompanied by fires, explosions, and bad weather with lightning. And of course, that obviously may accompany by some service outages where affected businesses, including airlines, may cancel flights, and or there's some network outages, and various social media platforms may experience outages, and other companies that may also come up with some surprising news, and it may have to do with their finances or earnings or plans, I guess, to increase future earnings. And the area to look for again is airlines, telecoms, IT, fintech, and anything that's electronic, high tech, cryptocurrency, exchanges, electric cars, power plants. So anything that's like AI, high-tech areas, there again may be surprises related to either finance or how they take payments, or anything to do with money and earnings. And as I said, there might be also some disruptive influences in terms of weather, like high winds, but there may also be some news about, say, drones flying where they shouldn't be flying. And again, therefore, the traffic may be grounded. Or other sort of problems with transportation, and again, mostly by air. There may also be some problems, again, if there's some services that are provided via internet, online, where some signal either can't go through, or there's some sporadic outages, or it's not clear where the outage came from because it comes quickly and disappears equally quickly. And there may also be, if there's an agreement pending, again, there may be abrupt cancellations or sudden surprises in what that agreement entails. Then for the US, the period of October 1st through the 11th is also significant, and especially October 3rd and the 4th, I guess we already passed that, but it will still continue through this week, where there's increased focus on things like oil, gas, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, navy, flooding, wet weather, rains, also any other Neptunian topics such as drugs, religion, beverages, etc. And there we may hear about, again, excessive rains, flooding, and that may affect transportation, or perhaps there's some increased focus on oil or some new medicine, or, of course, vaccines, etc. And that continues for the US through the 11th of October. For China, starting about this week through December 23rd is going to be an important period where, again, there will be increased, slowly increasing news about either water, excessive flooding, for example, rains, either water pollution, or some projects related to navy, gas, oil, also pharmaceuticals, infectious diseases, hospitals, hidden places, labs, or anything that's done kind of in a hidden way for maybe perhaps for a reason, or hidden because it's something like dirty and is sort of a secretive thing that no one should know about. And the peak times of these kind of news that may come out, so this hidden thing becomes perhaps more actually public knowledge, or just can't be hidden anymore, and that's around October 7th through the 9th, so this week, and then also around December 15th through the 19th. But this whole period, October through the end of December, we will basically hear more and more news of that nature from China. On Tuesday, October 6th, this may be important for the US specifically. There may be minor negative or concerning news about leaders or prominent individuals, such as actors, for example, or politicians, and their health and or their status may become, I guess, a source of concern. For, not much on October 7th and 8th individually. Then on Friday, as I mentioned, it's going to be a fairly, I think, significant day. I do give it a slight probability of a market going up. However, regardless, it may be a day with important news coming out, and those news may set off either a large drop or a rally. And the news will likely be related to some sort of a agreement or a deal, and whatever that is, it's going to probably result in some sort of overreaction from the traders. Then getting again into the news that are more specific to the US, starting around Friday, the 9th of October, and through the end of October, through the 31st, and especially significant between, I'd say, mid-October 16th through the 28th. And again, within that period, a specific look around the 20th of October. In the US, we may hear about some significant announcements related to either military, weapons, sports, fires, explosions, accidents, tensions with partners, or escalation of any sort of tensions or negotiations with, say, adversaries or partners. So things will get literally heated. Either there's a fire and explosion that needs to be attended to, there's damage, and there's some expense coming with that, or it's a heated exchange where maybe, again, I'm thinking like China over some Navy-related situation and or any other really country, but it may result in the announcement that relates specifically to maybe mobilization of military or sales of weapons or funding of the military. So maybe some sort of a bill may be passed, or perhaps, again, some large expense is announced. And all other type of news may relate to, again, specifically sports. Maybe an athlete gets, really large deal, or perhaps vice versa, some situation, some event is canceled and there's a large financial loss. And other area that may be involved is also any sort of a risky gambling type situation. So of course, this could be stock market, but also casinos, and again, or entertainment kind of venues. Those Regal cinemas, I think they're looking to shut down their locations. So this could be basically a large move where it's either related to, again, military or risky activities or sports, so like more aggressive type of events, or things that are more like risky and entertaining where you don't have this steady income and things go up and down. So those areas, those kind of businesses may be affected 9th through the 31st of October, and there may be an announcement where either again something is canceled and there's a loss, or vice versa, the entity doubles down on kind of taking even more risks, and maybe if it's the same engine, the engine now generates more power, and some sort of the things go, travel further or achieve like a new level of I don't know, speed or distance, like an athlete that reaches a new high, for example, in some, I don't know, jump or something like that. It may involve, again, mobilization of, say, military, but for humanitarian aid, maybe there's a large fire and extra sort of personnel is being sent and that fire is extinguished, but something that requires either extra bravery, taking on extra risks, additional investment, or additional, I guess, risky move to save the investments, or vice versa. There may be some tensions where other, countries, and because of some concerns about losses, or they may lead to losses. So basically, again, tense months, I would say. But I guess there's an opportunity for taking on risks that may also pay off. And lastly, this month of October for US may see increased news about things like Navy, oil, gas, pharmaceuticals, beverages, movies, etc. So again, Neptunian topics. And there too, we may hear about either large investments or large expenses. So something like a pipe, gas pipe leaks, and it needs, things need to be cleaned up. Or maybe some sort of a spending bill is passed to authorize some expenses related to Navy. And then let's just quickly take a glance at the upcoming, times of importance in the future weeks and even months. So October 16th, this month, I think will be another important day to specifically mark in your calendars, where it may see large market moves, and those will likely be driven by some sort of a legal decision, some bill or some act, and maybe international connection there, and or there may be some increased news about oil. So speaking of oil, I would say October 17th or 20th may see increase, that's globally, news about oil or gas or chemicals or pharmaceuticals, or some tensions surrounding water, Navy, again, maybe flooding, maybe shipments over water, or even maybe gas leaking, some sort of a maritime disaster, but also music, movies, photography, etc. And those may potentially bring the market down on the 19th of October, and there may be some sort of potentially quick drop followed by a swing up. But definitely there will be more news about oil at that time. And then for China specifically, I looked at China's natal chart, and it looks like starting about the 24th of October through December 8th of this year, and especially October 29th and then November 27, 28, there may be an announcement of some importance there related to banks, financial institutions, loans, debt, currency, earnings, etc. And it may be, again, a risky, aggressive move where the country goes kind of pushes forward to establish some dominant position in that area, or to implement some more aggressive approach. And the goal would be to, again, establish dominant position, increase their earnings, and announce maybe some sort of new ambitious project. And so, like I said, those two times around, let's say, the very end of October, around the 29th, and then end of November, 27, 28, it either will be a two-phase project where, preliminary phase and then some sort of a follow up on that, or it could be two different announcements, maybe two different projects are announced. Then, as I mentioned already in my previous predictions, for weekly predictions, November, especially second and third week, we'll likely see quite a strong, strong moves in the market, and it may be a large top or bottom of the market where that may be followed by a long-term sort of a change in direction. At this time, I think it might be a top. So if we're experiencing market going up into the mid-November, around the 13th to 16th, there may be a big change, probably like an up on the 13th, and then down market on the 16th. Either way, I think 13 to 16 is where we may see a really large change in the direction of the market, and it may have to do with the news that may come up over that weekend, and could be even related to US election results. And then finally, something again specific to China, starting, I would say, around December 17th of this year and going into the end of January 2021, and especially the very last few days of the year, like 25th of December through the 2nd of January, there may be a really, really big announcement from China about some really new ambitious goals or new program or new vision that are multi-year, and something that maybe has been brewing for a while sort of under the surface, and now they're really going to come up and probably kind of announce it or make these grand plans, and it will relate to most likely aerospace, IT, AI, anything that's like really high tech, telecommunications, any sort of networks, power plants, electronics, anything that's like really high end and cutting edge technology. And it either will be completely new projects or projects that have been, like I said, in the works for a while, but now they're really coming in being brought into the public's sort of attention, and the involvement or rather development of those projects will truly accelerate. At the same time, I believe China may also either rethink or repositions themselves where it comes to their, I guess, status in some sort of international organizations. And we're talking about not just one-on-one relations, but like being part of some organization, specifically APEC. Comes to mind the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation membership. I think there may be some changes there for China right around that time, and other kind of changes for China. Again, will be, I think, quite an important period. They may also announce any sort of development or any achievements that maybe were again hidden under the cover or kind of being worked on in the background that are related to like infectious diseases, healthcare in general, vaccines, hospitals, prisons, audiovisual equipment, but also even veterinary care. And at the same time, there may also be some increased news about human rights and freedoms. So when the similar, I guess, transits occurred for China back in 91, they did come up with some sort of a white paper on human rights. So I think there might be, again, a similar situation where something needs to be clarified or articulated. And again, that involves one, projects related to high-tech, aerospace, IT, etc., to position or status in the international associations, and 3, human rights and freedom situations. So quite a big point, I guess, importance for China, and definitely beginning of the year, but also will be beginning of some sort of a new long-term, I guess, projects for China as well. So that wraps it up for me, and I hope you found this useful and interesting, and otherwise you're having a great week. So I wish you all the best, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.